You're walking down a poorly lit hallway. As you're walking, the door slams, and you hear the radio turn on all of a sudden. Heart racing, you're scrambling to find the exit. And then, it's quiet. Horror games have been around since the earliest days of video games, from hit series like Doom to Silent Hill. It was the late 90s though that saw a flood of horror games, from 2D pixels to polygons. More gore, more monsters, and way more anxiety. Though there has been a decline in horror games from big name studios, the indie scene has been flourishing with fear-inducing games. But what is it that makes a game so terrifying, and why do consumers still play them? First up, let's take a look at some of the elements that define many successful horror games. Darkness. Almost every horror game has the element of darkness in it. But why does the dark frighten us? Dr. David Rakison, professor of evolutionary psychology at Carnegie Mellon University, explains the fear of darkness as a result of evolution. The inability to see what is around us triggers humans' evolved fear mechanisms because it suggests that potential unseen threats may be close by. Though the human eye, able to distinguish 10 million colors, is so well developed, it still does not match up to the eyes of some predatory animals that lurk in the night. But it's really not that humans are afraid of the dark, when you think about it, but what may lurk in places you cannot see. Though it may seem like a disadvantage, it really is not. The fear of darkness and the anxiety it generates acts as a check and limiting mechanism against reckless behavior. For example, anxiety increases our awareness of situations that may damage our reproductive resources. It's a highly developed mechanism that is simply protecting you from some of life's misfortunes. So really, it's an evolutionary advantage being afraid of the dark. While darkness can be terrifying, there's nothing more terrifying than being all alone in the dark. Think about the last horror game you played. I'm going to go ahead and assume that you took on the role of one protagonist, all alone in some certain scenario. Horror game developers do this on purpose though, to heighten moods generated by the game. As a social species, humans do not like being isolated and alone. Without social interaction, humans would not be able to survive in an environment full of predators. And so this fear is used in video games to a great degree, such as in Dead Space, Silent Hill, Resident Evil, and so forth. In video games, when you're all alone and social interaction does not exist, it triggers our evolved mechanisms for heightened fear and vigilance for potential threats. The third element that makes horror games so terrifying are its abnormal characters. A deformed face or something so bizarre piques our fear. A lot of this comes back to survival again. A deformed face or body tells us that the person we are looking at is not healthy, and in a world where disease is common, health is really important. Psychological elements make horror games terrifying, but there's some other elements that increase our anxiety. Jump scares everywhere. Some horror games are abundant with jump scares that force us to react quickly or it's game over. Others go another route and trap players in suspense, heightening anxiety. Tack in background noise such as the tipping of a can or a radio that turns on out of the blue, and it can create an eerie setting that would make some of the horror enthusiasts out there feel discomfort. The formula for horror games never really changes, but as the detail in games continue to develop, horror games may just become scarier. And that is the art of horror games. If you enjoyed this video, why not click that like button right there, and stay up to date with Closer Look by subscribing to this channel. Thank you for watching.